박사님은 북한의 초대로 영변을 방문한 최초의 핵 물리학자로 알고 있는데요. 어떤 이유로 방문을 하게 됐고 그들은 왜 박사님 일행을 초대하게 된 것인지 궁금합니다.
So my colleague, Professor John Lewis from Stanford, had been going to North Korea for about a decade. And during the very difficult time of the transition from the administration of President Clinton to President Bush, the agreement from Clinton time was terminated. And the North Koreans restarted their nuclear complex, and they wanted the Americans to understand that they've restarted the complex and that they're going to build nuclear weapons. And since at that time they had no relations with the American government, with the Bush administration, they invited Professor Lewis to come back because he had been an interlocutor before. And he asked me to come along. I'm a nuclear scientist from Los Alamos. And so the North Koreans were delighted that he would bring me along, and they wanted to show me the progress that they've made towards a nuclear weapon.
박사님은 7차례나 북한을 다녀왔는데요. 그 북한에 대한 첫 인상은 어땠으며 지금 생각하시기에 북한은 어떤 이미지로 남아있는지 궁금합니다.
Well, the first impression, I'd never been in North Korea, but I grew up after the Second World War in Austria. And it reminded me of Austria, of being a young lad in a poor, poor country. But also, as Austria was very friendly, the people were friendly, the children were friendly, so that impression was good, a poor country with friendly people. In the nuclear complex, my overall impression, once they showed me there, is that they were very professional. And very highly skilled. So these were very good nuclear engineers. And what they showed me at the Yongbyon nuclear facility is they have the capability to make plutonium. And plutonium can be used as the fuel for a nuclear bomb. And again, the facilities were old-fashioned, but they were adequate. And the people were very well trained and professional.
박사님은 북한이 나가사키의 펜맨과 비교해도 10배가 넘는 위력을 것으로 예상되는 핵탄두를 50개 정도 가졌을 거라고 예측을 하셨는데요. 그럼에도 일반인들이 봤을 때 이게 북한이 군사적으로 막대한 힘을 가지게 되었다는 것 말고 어떤 의미가 있는지 잘 와닿지가 않거든요. 이게 우리나라와 미국 그리고 전 세계에 어떤 의미가 있는 것인지 설명 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
Well, first of all, North Korea developing nuclear weapons, and particularly in the past, let's say 7-8 years, greatly expanding their nuclear arsenal. From when I first went there, they maybe had built their first bomb in 2004, and now they may have enough of the bomb fuel, both plutonium and highly enriched uranium, for sort of 50 to 60 bombs, let's say. So that, to me, is a very dangerous situation for the world. So it's one of the few countries in the world that has nuclear weapons. And certainly it's a threat to South Korea, to Japan that are close by. I do not believe that the North Koreans yet have the capability to reach the United States with a nuclear-tipped missile. They have good missiles, but they haven't, in my opinion, put it all together as yet. But it doesn't matter. It's still dangerous because South Korea, is so close, and Japan is so close. So it's a real pity that the world was not able to stop North Korea from developing these nuclear weapons and continuing to build the nuclear weapons. And the reason I wrote my book, that I called Hinge Point, an inside look at North Korea's nuclear program, is so that people can learn the lessons, that they can see what's inside of North Korea, because I met the nuclear scientists, I met the diplomats, and I write about those meetings. I want the public to be able to read and understand more about North Korea. And then I also want them to understand how our governments have failed to stop North Korea.
박사님은 기존부터 최근까지 지속적으로 한국 자체 내 핵무장에 대해서 굉장히 부정적인 시각을 견지해 오셨는데요. 그 이유가 무엇인지가 좀 궁금합니다.
It's a very bad idea. And the most important reason is that it will make the Korean Peninsula more dangerous. So instead of less dangerous, because South Korea now thinks they can protect it, it'll make it more dangerous. Because now you have two leaders in the north and south with nuclear weapons, their fingers on the trigger, and all kinds of misunderstanding, miscalculations could potentially lead, instead of a little conventional skirmish, to an exchange of nuclear arms. We haven't had nuclear weapons used since Hiroshima and Nagasaki's. So it's been, all that time, over 70 years, have not had a nuclear weapon used. So the whole world has gone in the direction over these times, and particularly the United States, but also the Soviet Union, to limit the number of countries that have nuclear weapons. And so I very firmly believe the fewer fingers on the nuclear trigger, the better. You don't want to have a nuclear trigger in South Korea. And besides, I think what's not realized here, how much it would cost you, not just in terms of money, but in people. You take good people and you put them in a direction, and those nuclear weapons don't do anything for you. The security of South Korea, in my opinion, comes not from the United States alone. It comes from the combination of South Korea and the United States. They're allies. They're in this together. It's being done for South Korea, and it's being done for the United States. The United States like to have a presence, on this side of the Pacific. South Korea is its partner in democracy. And that partnership is all that's required to protect us from North Korea. South Korea does not need nuclear weapons.